Hey guys, my name is Fernando Palomino and I am a senior graphic design major at MCAD, and this is my final presentation for Liberal Arts Advanced Seminar. So I'm going to show you guys a slideshow and I'm going to talk about it, and yeah, let's get started. So my presentation is called New Media Design. Basically what I'm going to be talking about is how design in general, not even just graphic design, has been taken over by new technology and new media, such as web, uh, interface, motion, all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to start with this little piece that I wrote in my paper. It says, when we look at design today compared to how it was in the past, we can see that there have been radical changes not only in how things are created, but the possibilities of what we can create and how they are displayed to us. So I'm talking about, like I said before, how things in design have changed from the past to how they are today in terms of how we create graphic design, web design, interface design, motion design, any sort of design. And it's just been so heavily influenced on how, technology changes throughout the years. For example, this is kind of a really basic one, but when album covers or album art was first created, it was designed for big records. This Pink Floyd album, for example, like when it came out, like there was no, CD, or it didn't go on iPod or an iPhone. Like it was just printed on an album, and it was big. And that was back when graphic design was like it was meant to be displayed in this like print format. But moving to 2014, today, like the same album cover and even new album covers are displayed on a tiny little touchscreen or a tiny little iPod, where you can hardly even see it. And that's just kind of, in a way, the future of design. Screens are getting smaller, and design is really just, being made for the screen. Another example are books. Even though physical books are still, pretty popular today, uh, you know, people have become starting to people have started to use tablets and e-readers for books, and these books are primarily designed for tablets. Like you're able to flip the page on the tablet just like you would a real book, and it's designed that way. It's coded to be read on an iPad. And today, why would you carry around 10 heavy books when you can just have the digital files on a tablet? And this is even something that I've done this semester. I just carry all my books and PDFs on a tablet. And this is just another example of how technology and this new type of media and software is just taking over things that were originally made to be physical, and you were meant to be holding a book physically and reading it in your hands. And even with movies, like you don't go out and buy DVDs that often anymore. You stream movies or you just buy them online. And it's just kind of the future of technology and just the way it works. This is a quote that I found that I really liked, that kind of I thought was pertinent to my project here. It says, graphic design was the first profession to be impacted by the introduction of the personal computer in the 1980s. Its strategic objective was, after all, desktop publishing. And that's by Andrew Blauvelt from the Walker Arts Center. Really what I find great about this quote is, graphic design was really impacted by the personal computer. To be honest, most of the people today in the world, they think that graphic design is primarily a computer-oriented profession. When I talk to my family or friends and tell them I'm a graphic design major, they instantly think I'm like a computer artist, or computer graphics or something like that. When that is kind of how it is today. Like a lot of my work is made through the computer, but not all graphic design is through the computer. Even though illustration isn't graphic design, but illustration is a big part of it. And that's that can be done primarily by hand, or even design can be done by hand, like hand lettering. screen printing. You can lay out things on a sheet of paper. Not everything has to be done through the computer. Um, but the thing that this quote really says that's true is, like, graphic design has primarily been taken over by the computer, though. Even though you don't have to use the computer, it's a tool that has just become, like, necessary for graphic designers. And, part of the computer means, in this part, that things are being displayed on screen, and the screen has really just become, like, the base medium for graphic designers in this age. Like, everything is basically done on screen. When you think about anything, like posters, you don't really see them printed anymore. They're basically, you see them published on screen. Books, like I said earlier, published on screen. Album art, anything like that is published on screen. And in the future, like, things even started becoming less about making things that are physical to digital, but just creating things that are primarily digital. Websites, mobile devices, or mobile apps, and motion graphics, they're all primarily made for screen. It's no longer even about printing anything out or having physical versions. It's all about being digital. And that's kind of this influence of new media. Is today we primarily use websites, we primarily use smartphones, and that's where we get our information, and that's where we see data, and that's where graphic design is strongest, because that's just where people are a majority of the time. Here's another quote that I thought was really interesting. It says, "The computer is our connection to the world. It is an information source, an entertainment device, a communications portal, a production tool. We design on it and for it, and are its most loyal subjects, its most agreeable audience, but we are also its prisoners." And this is such a great quote. We, in the 21st century, have learned to use the computer as a tool, but it's kind of gone past that. It's gone to where we rely on the computer now. We need it to do things, to be productive, to work on projects, to write papers. We need it. Not only for that, but for entertainment too. We use it to listen to music, to watch movies, to read books, to communicate with people, our friends, even our classes. Even this class is primarily based online through a screen, and it's just really interesting how that is today. So here are some pictures I found, and it just really kind of shows that today is really virtual or screen-based. Everything you look at is on the screen. You can even video chat people and have a relationship through a screen, and it's all possible through new technologies that are coming out. So what is the impact of this? Well, everything being on screen means that, well, what it really means is advertising. People or companies know that audience and consumers are on screen most of the time. They're looking at their computer screens or phones or televisions, and this gives them an opportunity to advertise to you. And advertising is obviously a big part of graphic design, or art in general, and that's why you use Facebook to talk to your friends, and there's advertisements on the side, or any website, there's advertisements on the side. And designers have to account for this. They have to know that people are on screen, and screens are small, and you have to figure out a way to publish and attract viewers into seeing advertisements and being attracted to them, because it's not just print anymore. You don't just have a little advertisement space on a newspaper or a magazine. Now you have to create something that's screen-based. It can be motion, anything, interactive. And I just think this is a really interesting way to move into the 21st century of digital technology and that sort of thing. Another thing that's slowly coming out is virtual reality. We've literally gotten to this point where we have moved so far past the beginnings of using the computer as a tool that we're just like creating new things now. We don't just take the computer and create things that have been already created physically and transfer them. We're literally making new things. We are taking virtuality and, we're making an environment that's completely screen-based. You no longer have to go walk. You don't any longer have to go to Mexico to go look at the beach there, You put on an Oculus Rift and you're there, but it's screen-based. It's artificial, but it's just the same as anything else that's screen-based. And I find that really interesting. And also how graphic design can relate to that as well is really interesting to think about. Virtual reality hasn't exactly come out yet, and it hasn't become popular yet, so I don't exactly know how graphic design will really be incorporated into this, but I'm really interested to find out. So moving past all that, we're kind of now in an era of post-internet, which means we've just become completely accustomed to technology and new media, and in a way, for more maybe like fine art graphic designers, this is kind of an opportunity to take our emotions toward this era where we're completely reliant on the computer and create design and artwork that kind of expresses that, or maybe even goes back to more physical ways of making things, I guess. So here's some post-internet art, like you're taking, you're using 3D animation to maybe create things that couldn't exist in the real world, or you're going back to maybe old styles of computer art that you kind of make real, or maybe you're going back to print, but you're using it for installation now. And I just think that is a really interesting use of graphic design. So basically my conclusions on this are that the technological revolution is here, and it's here to stay. What I really think is that screens are kind of how it's going to be from now on. Like, you can't really move back from that, and in a way there's drawbacks to that. A lot of the time before computers were used for graphic design, there was so much more process, and you're so much more involved in a work. It's kind of like something you've worked on for a long time and you have ownership for it. Where today you can literally push out a design in Photoshop or Illustrator in a matter of minutes, and I think with that there's a lot less ownership and a lot less pride that you can put into that work, which is kind of disappointing. But at the same time, if you can make a design in 10 minutes, imagine what you can do in hours of work. Like, you can truly make something incredible, and I really just think that's amazing. So yeah, that's basically what's going on with my final project in this class, and what I've been exploring, and really what I've been interested in is this new media revolution, and yeah, I'm just really excited about it. So thank you guys, and have a good day.